fast job in Vegas. I was in Texas this week, flew to Nevada last night, going to work today, and then 5 a.m. tomorrow I'm back on a plane.
Welcome to Las Vegas.
So, really tight schedule.
So how did I get hired for this job? A local production company saw one of my vlogs. They hired me to be a gimbal op. We did good. The client loved it, said we're having our next show in Las Vegas. So the production company hired the exact same crew. And then I found out that the crew actually came from my network, which came from the vlog. The camera assistant, Emmanuel, and the photographer, Carlos, all were sourced because of my network, because of the vlog, and were hired by Vipul with Binder Productions, who does a fantastic job putting these together. All right, this is my camera assignment. I'm gonna be on the R5C on the RS2 with the tilt-a-ring, with a small HD with built-in Teradek functionality, and that will send our signal to the live stream. And before the live stream starts, the live stream's inside there. We're gonna be out here grabbing testimonials. So the landscape of YouTube is changing. It used to be a YouTuber was someone who made videos on YouTube for YouTube. And then the other side of the spectrum was you had working professionals who were actually on site doing video production. And now there's a mutually beneficial relationship between the two. You have people who are in the field doing their career and documenting it and putting that on YouTube. And they are showing you actual real world use, real world decisions, and how these gear, items, products all work when you're actually someone who does this for a living. And I think as much effort as you are putting into growing your craftsmanship and your career, you should also be putting into growing your digital presence. They can both help each other out. It can help you get work by having a YouTube audience. It can establish yourself as an authority figure on your topics. And then also if you're working, you're able to learn and share that on your YouTube channel, your podcast, whatever. And they will both support each other. They'll both help each other out. And most importantly, it will put you above the rest of the competition. There are tons of videographers out there, but if you hear the same name over and over and over again, chances are you're gonna trust them because you already know them. All right, back to this shoot. So in the back of the house, essentially it's a 3-camera switch. We have the two C70s on the 70 to 200s, I believe. One's RF, one's EF, and then my camera, which is the roaming cam. So you can see here, I'm panning just to a group shot of the audience while they put up a picture. And then in the times where the presenter is just standing on stage for a long time, it would get very, very tiring. So I just rested it on this speaker and kind of point up as he comes closer. Sometimes they would cut to this as a nice, just different change from the wide and tight facing straight forward. And then as people came up to grab their awards, it's my job to get in close, get the handshakes, the hugs, the emotions, and have an angle that can quickly be turned around if they reference something in the crowd. If they reference a person, I need to go look. I don't know anybody's names, but I can see where the commotion is, who's standing up. I'm talking on the headset. It's a nice system for communication and to just get these special shots that are off stage. So this is the R5C. It did okay. I think I prefer the C70 because we were going inside and outside, and the ND is just extremely valuable. But the camera was powered by the gimbal. The monitor was powered by the gimbal. We're shooting 4K 30. Awards have wrapped. That was a solid 3 hours of gimbal opping, and now there's going to be one more reception where we need to get a few more testimonials and a little bit more B-roll, and that's the end of the workday. This place is really nice, by the way. Normally I hate Vegas and it's dirty and gross, but this is off strip, so it's a lot more chill, a lot more clean, way less degenerates. This is nice. Have you used the Sacklers before?
This is the first time using those tripods, and they're great. Super easy. It's better than like having to unstrap all three and go straight up.
Yeah.
Just do it one time and just.
I know they're expensive. I was gonna get one, but I got a different fluid head, and then I used some old sticks. But he's got the head and sticks.
And the sticks,
yeah, and two of them.
It's a good investment. I don't
And-
think he's ever gonna replace that.
But like you were going back and forth, like as the people walked across. Did it have any like recoil when you stopped and went the other way?
Smoothest one I've used, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've used one that smooth, and it has a lot of great settings to make it smoother and softer. For me, the biggest trick was just everyone that was talking was just running back and forth on stage, so I had to just like swing it around.
Yeah.
But it felt great. It was a good tripod.
If you saw this Orlando video in the corner, everything was inside. So for this time, for us to be outside and have mountains in the background, perfect lighting, I was really, really happy with the image that we got. So I would be holding the camera, kind of listening to the questions as Emmanuel asked them, and then he was holding a tube light just to get a little bit of fill on them. The camera shows it a lot more contrasty than it actually was. You could see the blue sky, and the shadows weren't so dark on his face, so it was a nice flatter, lower contrast image. But you can tell it was fantastic. It really, really looked nice. All right, Emmanuel's taking over for a second, getting some B-roll on the gimbal, and light is going fast, so it is perfect golden hour, blue hour right now. And there wasn't that much gear, so breakdown and wrap up went by pretty quickly. And this is actually the UFC headquarters. Hopefully I work there sometime in the future. That would be nice. And then after work, I got about an hour nap and then went and got some tacos and then got ready for our 5 a.m. flight back to Florida. So finished work, quick nap, jumped back in the car, and then I think we had to be at the airport by around 2 or 3. And this is the part where I like playing my role as a camera operator. So as the project comes to the end, my brain can start to slow down because I'm about to wipe my hands off from the whole project, which I really, really enjoy. Whereas if you're the production house, now you get into post-production. So general security has to take that mess, and pre-check just walks around the corner. Now, most people hate traveling. Personally, I love it, and that's because I've been doing it for a while, and I've learned some of the tips and tricks to make it a more fun and enjoyable experience. Step one is just to get some noise-canceling headphones or earplugs.
Thank you.
And then I always like to get pre-board as a media member carrying camera equipment, so you see PRBD, and what that allows me is to be at the front of this line, which is completely separate and before the general boarding line, so that I can go in and make sure that my camera gear can go into an overhead compartment, because they overbook these flights so often that they force you to check them in. And I've been with photographers who have said, I am not checking my $12,000 telephoto lens. And so that's why you want the option to bring it overhead before everybody else gets in. And I think it's the crew members with the digital presence who are gonna get the phone call to get hired first. Why? Just because you're more familiar with them. Of course, you need to have your network, you need to have your skills, but this is just one other way to put you at the top of the list. And I'm gonna leave you with some words from Gary Vee. If you're thinking about starting a vlog, a podcast, whatever, keep this in mind for the approach.
If you're doing it because you know you should be doing it, because you're trying to build a career, but it's not enjoyable, that is not a sustainable model.